Hello, everyone. Welcome to American Odds, the American Gods recap show. Might look like I just woke up because I did, and in fact, I didn't even get a chance to watch this week's episode. But luckily, our co-host Cal did.
Hey, everybody.
That's him. You heard him just now. He'll be able to catch us up with everything, and at least I read the book, so I'm not completely out of the box. But hello, everyone on the chat, real quick. We got Matt, Corey, Eric, and Candace. I know Kimber's around somewhere, and I saw Corey too. Corey was here first. Do that. So I'm gonna let Cal kind of take over and get us started.
All right. So luckily, I watched the episode twice, as I promised I would this time. So I got to get more detail out of it. So as like Tom and I were discussing last week, we said that every episode most likely to start with a coming to America tale. Last week we saw the Vikings arrive in America and had that humorous yet brutal intro. This time around, we actually have a slave ship coming to America with the African culture being depicted this time around with an African folklore god, if you will, named Anansi, where a slave is praying to Anansi, asking for help, promising like offerings and like tributes once, he gets him out of trouble. And we see a spider crawling along the wall, very like flamboyant spider. It's like multicolored and big-eyed and pretty crazy looking. So, and I did some research and I saw that Anansi is usually depicted as a spider, and he's like kind of like the god of storytelling and stuff like that.
He's also a trickster god, which is important.
Okay, it's kind of like Loki then in a way. The
thing is, like, we're meeting a lot of different trickster entities along the line throughout American Gods. So when you're reading it, and I don't know if this comes across in the episode, it's very hard to, like, at least if you have an understanding of mythology going into it, it's very hard to trust these characters as like telling you the truth. Did you ever feel like Anansi was lying to his worshippers?
No, I felt like he was being brutally honest. I mean, he was kind of like wheedling them the way he spoke to them, but I felt he was very brutally honest because we know, hindsight is 20/20 for us, so we know what happens to African Americans throughout history. But from their point of view, like the way Anansi basically laid it out for them was pretty much accurate. I felt, in my opinion, so other people might not feel the same way, but I thought it was.
It's kind of hard for me because, like, I like Orlando Jones, and I have no problem with him, and I can't really judge it without seeing it, you know what I mean? But going in, I pictured him in the books as, like, Nelson Mandela in that suit. And the thing about it, too, is, like, in the suit, like, yes, he was very bright and colorful, but the clothes kind of clashed. And in this, Orlando Jones just kind of looks, like, really slick. I think we even compared him to like how did he talk? You were telling me,
like a pimp, kind of like I felt like he was like Cat Williams, honestly. Like he was like know how Cat Williams is, the comedian. I felt like he talked like him, spoke like him, same demeanor as him, and all that.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing, all right. So what's going to be interesting is because the second book in the series is a Nasty Boys. So like, I don't know how he works in that either, like this, because he's very like. I'm not like I. It's really hard for me because I haven't seen it and I can't just judge it. I'm interested to hear what Candace has to say about it because
she says hashtag creep and she seemed like out of place, like a jive turkey. Would you agree? Candace is kind of like a Cat Williams pimp type character, just preaching and spitting truth.
Well, we are just meeting the character, so I mean, maybe because he's being portrayed back in the early days when the slave movement, I guess, the slave trade started. Maybe he's had time up until this point to maybe get like a little bit more closer to what I envisioned. But I don't know. So that was just coming to America.
Yeah, well, Corey was saying he talked like Shona from The Last Dragon. I think Candace is agreeing with my my pimp reference. But yeah, so basically he tells them, basically you're once you get off the ship, you know, you might think you're a normal person, but to them you're black, and that's the nicest of what they'll call you. You're screwed for the next 100 years, and then the next 100 years after that, and basically on and on until modern day. You're going to be screwed throughout life. So what the best you could do now is get back at your captors and kill them all, burn the ship down. And so that's what they do. He releases them. They supposedly slaughter everyone on the ship as well as burn it down. And all you see is one wooden plank land on, I guess, what is America, and a spider crawl off. So I guess that's a way of like spreading the tale of Anansi to the New World too, I guess, in a way.
And it's interesting too, because we're seeing all these other like forms of worship, as far as we meet Chernabog later in the episode. He's an old Slavic god. We meet Mad Sweeney last episode, old Irish god. It's interesting because in a lot of African folklore, it mimics Native American folklore to the fact that like a lot of it's totemism, and a lot of it is worshiping, creatures in the ground and stuff like that. So I would feel like if any culture could work with the American, like the vibe that it puts out, it would be African culture. So I think that's interesting. I don't know if they are going to explore that much, and I don't know if they do it more than I think they do in the books, but I'm just saying in the mythology aspect, it's really interesting.
Does each chapter of the book start out with a coming to America, or is like a section broken in sections?
This is new. Like we don't meet Anansi until later, and they don't even tell us in the books. They don't tell us his name is Anansi. They just tell us his name is Mr. Nancy.
Okay.
So like, and this is not the first time the show has already kind of jumped the gun on because like me and you say some of it's kind of really obvious who these people are, but I don't know. I guess Kimber's having a hard time watching.
Unfortunately. I was gonna say, like, do you think it's gonna continue a trend where they leave a piece of the tradition in America, whereas like the spider crawled on at the end, and the week ago they left the Odin statue, the tribute that was left on the beach, kind of as a way that the culture spreads? Do you think that they're gonna continue that trend?
I mean, if we're gonna learn anything from the past 2 episodes and the fact that they did it like that, then I'm gonna say probably. But I would like it to. I don't know. I don't want to assume too much, because I don't want to turn people off the show, because it is still like a cool concept. I'm never gonna argue that. I love the concept, but I'm starting to get a little. Again, I haven't watched it, so I can't even really complain.
So should we get into the actual episode?
The real episode? Yeah, we should probably get into the nitty-gritty of it.
So basically the episode starts off where we left last week, where Shadow Moon was saved by a mysterious character. We still don't know who it was. We just see him, falling from the tree, a lot of blood and everything, and then he ends up in I guess a hospital or a doctor's office getting stitched up and stapled together, and he's saying, I don't want any doctors. Then he immediately leaves from there and goes to visit Mr. Wednesday at some motel, when Mr. Wednesday was with a woman, a young woman. I don't know, just some woman he picked up, or a prostitute, or whatever she is. But Shadow confronts him, saying, like, did you know about this lynch mob? Like, this tech boy guy said he knows you. What's your business with him? Like, did you send that mob after me, or is there anything to do with you? And he's like, no, I honestly have no idea what's going on, like what you're talking about, or anything like that. So, but tomorrow we're gonna get a new start. We're gonna head over to Chicago. Because do you have anything left to here in this town? He goes, yeah, I have one thing left to do. And that's what we see the next day, is that Shadow goes to his house to like basically pack up everything, and he keeps looking over to the bed, because that's where the possessions box is given from the police department or the coroner or whoever it is that gives them the personal effects of his wife that she had. And he keeps looking over it, like he doesn't want to look into it, because he doesn't want to know the truth, I guess, or if there's any evidence of her infidelity. So as he's packing, he keeps looking over it, and finally when he packs everything up, he looks at it, finds the phone, goes straight to the Robbie text, and sees kind of like some flirty banter between the two. He scrolls a little bit more, and then sees a dick pic from Robbie to his wife, and that pretty much revealed the truth, that his wife was cheating with Robbie, and that makes him start like cleaning the house and stuff, and just going like, you know, a purge, I guess.
Kimber is referring to this episode as the dick episode because apparently there's a lot of dick in it.
Oh, I
Which,
don't remember.
hey.
Oh yeah, there was. Because I forgot to mention one scene with Bilquis that was also there.
Yeah, Kimber told me about the Bilquis scene. Where does that come up when?
I think it comes up right after this scene, maybe, or as they're driving, maybe. I can't remember if it's while they're driving or if it's right after. It might have been right after this scene where. So we see, I guess, inside Bilquis's womb or vagina or whatever it is. The guy from last week is floating there with an erect penis, and yeah, he's just floating there. And then you see her have some more conquests. She has like 3 or 4 more people come over, and they, they get sucked into her as well. And then she goes over to the museum and she goes to the ancient, I can't forget what it said in the background exhibit, and she sees the queen's jewelry, and then kind of superimposes her body onto the jewelry, and we see it like covering her body and stuff. And then that's about it. That's the end of her scene.
So it's like the idol, and then it like superimposes over her.
Well, no, there's an idol in the background, and she sees a glass case that just has the jewelry on a cloth. It's like on a sheet, and then you see her body rise from underneath the sheet, so it covers like the jewelry covers where it should be on her body.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Now I want to point out that like this is already more Bilquis than we've gotten in the books. So I am curious to see what they do with her. But just focusing more on her is kind of weird.
Yeah, Bear just said he envisioned to see Neil deGrasse Tyson in Bilquis's vagina.
With the little ship.
Yeah.
Our galaxy is only a day old on the modern calendar.
So then the next day is them driving to Chicago, but they had to make a stop. And Mr. Wednesday makes the point not to take highways. He's like, let's just take all local roads. And he goes, why not highways? He goes, well, I've seen them all. Like, I'd rather see the world through local roads and see the scenery and the beauty of the world than actually traveling down a highway that we've all seen before. So they make a stop, and Mr. Wednesday goes to a diner, and he gives Shadow Moon about $1,000 to go to a local Walmart, if it is. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's kind of like a Walmart, and buy some necessities and some gifts for the person they're going to go see in Chicago. And he goes, just take a little bit off the top if you have to. He goes, I'm not going to steal from you. He goes, then if you're not taking care of yourself, how are you going to take care of me? Because Shadow's trying to be an honorable person, not steal any money from Mr. Wednesday. He's like, if you have to bring receipts, bring receipts. But if you're going to take some money, just take about like 5% or 10%, whatever he said. So they go. You see Shadow Moon go to the store. He picks up some books. He picks up a disposable cell phone. And then he goes to like the media center, the entertainment center, and he sees like all the TVs on. And one TV is like a black and white TV with I Love Lucy, who was portrayed by Gillian Anderson. And she's
I heard this was Candace's mom, not Candace's mom. I'm sorry, Kimber's mom. Had no idea who the actress was because she did such a good job.
Yeah, looked a lot like Lucy. So Lucy, the character Lucy turns to her and turns to Shadow and goes, I need to talk to you, Shadow. And he just plays it off like, he goes, Shadow, I'm talking to you. And then he looks and he sees that the TV is directly talking to him. And he's looking around like, is he crazy? And eventually all the TVs start becoming her. And then the giant, like all the TVs her image spans over all the TVs and like, just playing all these tricks. And she's saying like, you don't need to work for Mr. Wednesday. You should come work for me. He goes, I know I saw a techno boy did to you, but we're not all like that. I could offer you more than Mr. Wednesday could ever offer you. So think about it. Whatever your heart desires, let me know. And he thinks he's going crazy at this point because like, why is the TV talking to him? Because then all of them turn off, and he leaves, and he goes to the diner to see where Mr. Wednesday, he already left Mr. Wednesday. And as he's doing that, a man's walking out. As you saw, looked like he had a meeting with Mr. Wednesday. He gets up and walks away. As they're walking past each other, Shadow looks at him, and the guy's eyes glow like a fiery reddish orange. And then the guy walks away, and Shadow sits down and goes, "What's going on with me? Am I crazy because I just got out of jail, or that my wife died? You know, I'm seeing like the TVs are talking to me. This guy has fire eyes. Like, what's going? Like, you know, I'm in like a limo with like a boy with no and like all these people with no faces. He thinks he's going crazy. That's what he thinks is happening. And Mr. Wednesday's not quick to tell him what's going on because he doesn't want. I guess he doesn't want to reveal what's really going on with the secret of that they're gods or whatever. But he just says, you know, he doesn't really address it as much.
Now this is cool because this is what it's like in the books. As Shadow is like entering this world, he does have his doubts, and the way they paint it in the book is very interesting, and was reason why I was so excited about Brian Fuller being on board with production, because his visualizations in Hannibal with like the Wendigo and stuff like that is really cool. So I'm excited to get into that. The guy in the glasses, I'm super excited that he's here. He's a cool character, and as we were saying last time, if you don't want to know who he is, don't read the credits, because this is the second time now that they've revealed who a character is in the credits, and I don't know, they're kind of bumming me out with that. But
I know about Brian Fuller too, how he said his Hannibal scenes with the Wendigo and stuff, but also how he portrayed I forgot the main character's name. I can't. Oh my god, not Hannibal, the other guy, the detective.
oh yeah, Will Graham.
Yeah, Will Graham. Like how he like saw crime scenes and it was just like that. That was like amazing too. I love that. That's what drew me into the show. The way that Will Graham like saw crime scenes and how he interpreted everything. That was amazing. So like this guy's doing like I can see how this guy did that Hannibal stuff, and I'm looking forward to how it continues on in this show because it's really good. Well done, very well done. So we we then go to Chicago, and Shadow and Mr. Wednesday approach an old lady who's opening a door, and she's kind of not happy to see them. And Mr. Wednesday goes, "I'm here to see so and so," and she lets him in, and he's like, "He's not gonna be happy to see you. He doesn't want anything to do with you. Why are you here?" Then we shows Chernabog in the a field with a cow, and he uses a bull gun, I guess it's called, and to kill the cow with one shot to the head. Yeah, like an air something like that. Yeah, an air compressor. Cool. Not his hammer, like he said he likes to do. And so when you go in, it's kind of weird because there's three sisters, but they say one's sleeping. You know, we don't want to disturb her. The other two, one's older, one's like a middle age, and it sounds like maybe the last one's a young. I'm not sure because we don't see her. But they say we don't want to wake her. But they say we'll read your fortune after you're done. He's like, I don't believe in that kind of stuff. But after they drink this coffee, like they turn over his coffee grinds and look at it, and they have a concerned look. But he notices that, and he asks, "What does it say?" And she's like, "You're gonna live a long, happy life and have many children." And he goes, "Well, then what's the good news?" And he goes, like as a joke, kind of like, you know. But she goes, "Your mother had cancer," and he's like, that's when he kind of like, wait, he's taken aback, like, how do they know that? He goes, "You won't have cancer." So that's like the good news, that you won't die of cancer. Like your mother died of cancer, you won't die of cancer.
Which is kind of funny because it's like it's already foreshadowing the end of this episode.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
yeah.
really
So cool. Yeah. So then the man walks through. Can we say his name or no?
Who, Chernabog?
Yeah, Chernabog. Yeah, so Chernabog walks through, and he's very unhappy to see Mr. Wednesday. He's like, "What are you doing here? I'm never gonna go with you." And Mr. Wednesday's like, "You know, they're all assembling. They'll really like it if you're there because you know you're the guy they want to see there. You're the guy who could rally the forces and all that. We really need you there." And he's like, "I don't want anything to do with you. You know, just get out. Don't ever come back." But my sister or whatever who that is, the woman is, did invite you to dinner, so please stay for dinner and then you'll leave, and I won't stop you. So as they're saying, but while he's yelling that all out at Mr. Wednesday, they're like, "Keep it down, shh, keep it down," because sister is sleeping. He's like, "I don't care, let her wake up." And you hear the third sister wake up for the bedroom, but they're like, "No, go back to sleep," because they obviously don't want her to wake up for some reason. So basically, they sit down to dinner, and he goes, "Do you know how I do my job? I'm used to taking a hammer and hitting them through the head right at dawn because that's when the blood is rushing the best. They're well fed. they're rested, so that's why the blood's rushing to the vest. So that's where I hit him in the head with the hammer. Like, you want to see my hammer? And all, well, he says that later, but he goes, now we use these air guns, or like you were saying, and they're just anyone can just do it. They can just use this and kill.
Well, if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, if you've seen No Country for Old Men, then you know exactly what we're talking about. Because that's what he uses too, is a little
Right.
air compressor that they use it for cows.
Um,
But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. So after dinner, he he says like, oh, well, during dinner, he's like, do you play chess? He goes, I've been in prison for like however many years. He's like, of course I play chess. I mean checkers. Sorry, checkers. Um, so he's like, would you like to play? And then he goes, it's good. And then so that's what Shadow responds. I don't know if they have the same dialogue, but he goes, it's good. And they decide to have a chess match. And during the chess match, he goes, do you want to see my hammer? As he's showing him the hammer starts bleeding and all his blood starts coming out. And Shadow once again thinks he's going crazy. So then he goes, Chernabog goes, if you really want this, like, I'll face you. If you beat me, I will come with you. But if you lose, I get to hit you with my hammer and kill you. And so Shadow just goes, how badly do you need this guy? He goes, to Mr. Wednesday. And Mr. Wednesday goes, well, how good are you? He goes, well, if this is a world where, the TVs talk to you and guys with have fire eyes and blood comes from hammers, I don't think I should be worried, or something like that. He says something like that. And so he's like, I'll take it. I'll take the bet. He goes, it's good. And just like how he said, it's good. It's good. So they have this chess match. And as this chess match is happening, I think you see flashes to when Chernabog hits people with hits bulls with cows or bulls with hammers. He's also singing the Song of Spoons, which is the name of the episode, right? That was called the song.
Spoons, but
What?
It's the episode's called The Secret of Spoons, but
Oh, the Secret of Spoons. Yeah. But that's what he's singing. The song. I think the direction at the end, because I watched the end thing, said it was the song of he's singing the song about the spoon or whatever. And there's a meaning behind the song, but I didn't really catch what everything the director said. Cause I don't get to see that scene once, because they didn't have it at the end of the actual played episode. It was on the on-demand episode. So maybe if you know about it better, you can go into that. But as as you're playing, he's singing that song, and ultimately Shadow loses, and he goes, tomorrow in the morning at dawn, I hit you, and you die, and that's how the episode ends. So we're left with a cliffhanger again with Shadow at basically the end of every episode. Is like Shadow's about to die, kind of thing. So
yeah, I don't know how old that's gonna get after a while, but we'll see how it turns out. I will say that for anyone who doesn't know this, Chernabog is a Slavic god who is kind of like the god of like darkness and cancer, which is kind of cool that they talk about cancer and that they're aware of it existing. And it also kind of cements the fact that like this stuff has been like cancer's been around forever. It's nothing new, and it still like takes us down more than any other.
mm-hmm.
I guess besides the plague. But
do you have anything about the song? The song?
If I remember correctly, it's like a war chant, but I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. I have to re-listen to the song, and I don't. Again, the book isn't as fresh in my mind as it is for others. But I'm sure it'll get brought up when we're
Now,
chatting.
without spoiling anything, I think it was Eric that brought it up last week, saying, because I feel like Shadow's almost dying at the end of every episode, and maybe like the sister said, you're not gonna die of cancer, so maybe they know he's gonna die soon, and he's supposed to die to Chernabog. I mean, I don't know if he's supposed to, but I'm saying like he lost the bet, so therefore he's supposed to die to Chernabog. So I know you said last week that that coin can bring people back. So who knows if there's more of those coins or not. So maybe he technically could die and be brought back as in your heart, like I was saying, like last week or whatever. But
I guess you have to define what coming back really is. As far as we were speaking about Laura and the coin going on her grave, she's only come back in dreams. So is that a version of coming back? Is that how is you know what I mean? Like we don't really know the rules yet in the show. But I mean that surely means anything's really possible.
Are we gonna see like Melisandre come in and cut his hair and give him a bath? Oh, he has no hair to cut, right? So
Yeah, in fact, Melisandre puts a weave on him,
Oh, okay, then cuts it.
and then he comes. No, I don't.
No,
I
so
don't know.
another thing is I forgot to mention, like you said, yeah, he did have dreams of his wife, so I forgot to mention that earlier. So he just sees a wife in dreams. So that's something that worthy of noting, maybe for possible next week.
Um, so I don't know if Kimber still is planning on calling in because her camera is super dark, but she did have a character poll. Did you want to read
Okay, yeah.
what the?
So I was posing this question where, as you know, Kimber does a poll every week, so go check out her poll on Twitter. It's usually about a character poll. Who's your favorite character, or what character would you like to see more often? I mean, see more of later in the series. So I like, as we said, Tom, Kimber, and I do another show called The Night's Watch about Game of Thrones, and it's kind of like the opposite, where I've read all the books, and when Tom and Kimber came to the show, they only saw watch the show. They haven't really read the books until now. So
Well, now, yeah, Kimber is almost
yeah,
there. I'm still
so
behind.
when I meet anybody and I tell them like my favorite character from the beginning is Jaime Lannister, everyone's like, "What the hell is wrong with you? He's such an asshole." But me, who read all the books, knows ahead of time, like, you know, his kind of like his retribution arc or redemption arc, I guess, the redemption song in a way, to where he comes to become one of my, you know, a lot of people's favorite characters now. So I asked Tom, like, because I haven't read the books and you have, like, is there a character, without ruining any characters, that you see, like, because I can't connect any character yet. I can't find like a favorite. So do you have a character that you, because you read the books, that you could see as?
I think I think when you're reading the book, Shadow is a lot more relatable, because we're kind of more in his head, which is always a benefit to books. Um, Mavis just found a piece of paper and going ham. Mavis, stop. Sorry. But I will say that I do like what they do with Laura later. Um, Whether that's dreams or whatever. She I think she's kind of put out there to be a bad guy right off the bat. I think that she has her moments. But as far as she's a good voice to have in Shadow's ear during these times for sure.
Your voice is getting choppy a little bit. The I think robot-y. But yeah, I heard your answer about Laura Shadow being like a. Oh, now he froze. Did he freeze? Oh wait. Oh, there he goes. Can you guys still see me? If you could see me, say that in chat. Well, he was saying that if you didn't get that, he was saying that, you know, Shadow's one of the most relatable characters at the moment, but he really likes where the book goes with Laura as it goes on, but we haven't gotten there yet. So without spoiling anything, that's what he's been saying. So if you haven't checked out, um, is it frozen, Kimber, or is it still going? If you haven't checked it out, Kimber has her poll on her Twitter, which is at Kimber. I'm still there. Okay. Is it at Kimberbatch OSP? I think at Kimberbatch OSP. That might be it. Um, check out that poll and check and see what you're. You know, go ahead and answer. And she's gonna have polls every week, and she'll come and discuss the polls when she calls in. Okay, cool. So I'm still here. Yeah, I feel like every time Kimber's not here, just like we saw in OSP last night for where I was at there for the first 45 minutes. When Kimber's not there, Tom's connection. It's like you guys are like a symbiotic unit. Yeah, at Kimberbatch _ OSP. So at KIMBERBATCH _ OSP. So check out her Twitter for all the polls. And I know I retweet it and Tom retweets it too. So I'm sure she'll be calling in a little bit to. Can I call you, Kimber? I don't think I can. No, I can't. Oh, there's Tom. He's back. So, Tom, when you get in, I was just talking about the polls and Kimber's that she'll be putting on other polls soon, and hopefully we can get her to call in and discuss what the results are at the moment, the current leading answers. If Tom gets in, I still see the Mavis. Still see the Mavis. Up there, Tom.
Yeah, it just told me like it. I don't know. It was weird.
So you want to get Kimber in on the call so you can update us on the poll and hear our thoughts?
Yeah, if she's available, for sure. I'll have her call in.
Yes, Candace, there was OSP, but it messed up twice in the beginning, so I don't know what happened after that because I had to go to bed, but I think it went on for a while. Like, yeah, Kimber is technology girl. That's very true. Yeah, it was OSP Q&A.
Full of mechanical errors.
I feel like someone said the T word, so that might have ruined it. And that was ended up being the title of the
Yeah. Is it?
the T word being Tony Todd. Shout out to Tony
Yeah.
Todd.
Zoom.
I can't invite people. Is that not?
You should be able to. You're a moderator, but I just sent the invite out.
I can't apparently. It should be next to the mute button, right?
Yeah, it's not there?
No.
Weird. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out and listening to the recap. Now we're gonna do some.
Call in without spoiling, please.
Yes. And so far, I'm doing a great job not spoiling anything.
Hey, Kimber.
Sorry, give me a second. Just hit pause. Are we okay?
You look great.
My mom's here.
Hello.
Can you see
Hi,
us
Mama
better?
Duke.
Yep.
And I'm gonna hide my mouse so that I can't hang up on the call this time.
She's also been watching American Gods. She's been enjoying it a lot. My dad said it was like a bad acid trip. He was having a rough time. But my mom is really enjoying it so far, so she was excited to hear what you guys had to say. Did you want to hear the poll first?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week I asked who was your favorite character that was introduced in this episode? Like, who were you looking forward to seeing the most? And the options were Mr. Nancy, Media, and Chernabog. And they actually ended up in that order. We had Mr. Nancy with 47%, Media with 37, and only 16 for Chernabog. So
My thoughts on this is I kind of feel like, again, I haven't watched the episode, but I feel like they kind of blew their load with Mr. Nancy already. The fact that no one's calling him Mr. Nancy makes me a little mad. But I Chernabog, I think, is one of a cool character. And what was the third one you said? Oh, Media.
yes.
I think the cool thing about Gaiman's books is these were written like 10 years ago, 15 maybe. And like all of the new gods are even more formable now than they would have been back then. Like in the books we were talking about, well, so I think Joe brought it up last night. Technical Boy had like a Nokia phone, like a brick phone. So like the advancements in the past 10 years are ridiculous, and I feel like they're even more powerful in this setting. So I'm excited with what they do with Media too.
My actual answer
She
for
was
this,
my pick.
yeah, my answer for this wasn't there. I ended up choosing Chernabog, but I wanted to see more of the guy with the fire eyes. But I didn't want to give away who it was. But yeah, that's why I wanted to see more because I was so intrigued when I saw the guy with the fire eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a cool one.
We gotta say over here that we love Lucy. That was amazing. My mom was like, holy crap, when she saw her. Like, she was spot on, and I thought it was really interesting. I think I saw Corey in the chat drop in, like, the references from Doctor Who with the TV episode that wanted to eat people's souls. And I did get that vibe in a very good way. I thought she was, like, that was just enough of her to make me really interested in seeing what's going to happen later.
I actually lost myself so much in the character, I forgot who was playing her.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good sign.
Yes, it was very well done, that scene. The acting has just been phenomenal this season as well so far. The only 2 episodes, but we always praise Ian McShane, but Gillian Anderson's been doing, did really well in that short scene she had. Even the guy who plays Shadow, Ricky Whittle, I think it is. He's been doing well. Because I've seen him in like minor talking roles, so I haven't really seen what he could do, but I think he's pretty good. My favorite though is Mad Sweeney, man. He did a great job for the few minutes he was on too.
Yes.
I think of
Yeah,
everybody,
that's who I want to see more of.
he's won. I think he's won the best supporting actor.
for sure.
Was there anything else about the episode you guys wanted to talk about?
Yeah, did you see my question in the chat?
I might have missed it during the.
I was saying, because you were talking about how Chernabog is a Slavic god associated with cancer. I was wondering if, like, her saying that you're not going to die from cancer was, like, foreshadowing about how he's going to survive the upcoming hammering.
I think that's a good theory.
Tom gets mad because I'm good at guessing things.
I have no poker.
Or maybe there'll be a fart bladder inside of his skull, so that when they hit it, it'll take away the pressure of the hit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that Tom has no poker face there on that one.
You're just not allowed to ask me questions.
But I'm sorry. You know how I like to figure things out. But did you want us to let you go so you can get some other callers in? We're going to definitely continue to be in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. It was great seeing both of you.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Nice meeting you.
We'll see you in the chat.
Good meeting you.
So you want to get Candace, and then whoever else wants to call, we can get a queue going?
Yeah, I know Mac already asked if he can come in and ask, and then if anybody else was interested.
Yeah, if you want to get in, I'll write it down. Let me get a piece of paper. Now, who's first on the list, you said, after Candace?
Mac, I remember Mac asking specifically to call in. I don't remember if anyone else said they would like to, but let us know.
Mac? If anybody else wants to call, let me know. I will write. I'm writing it down now. So I got Candace for calling now, and then Mac, and then if anybody else wants to call, let me know in the chat.
Eric can't tonight. He is busy exercising his body.
Game Fixers. Who is that? The Mac?
Yes, Game Fixers Matt. Yep.
Corey says you might want to put him with Mac. So.
Oh yeah, they're co-hosts, or they're involved together in some way.
And the Bear wants to call in.
Sorry, okay, cool.
I don't know people's real names, so. All right, so we got Mac and Corey coming in together, and then we'll have Bear after that. But we got Candace now. Hey, Candace.
Hi.
Great. Look at this. This is the people's champ right here.
Oh, wait, don't spoil it for me because I haven't watched it because I have softball. And Kimber messaged me saying, "Oh, did you see Candace? She read Buffy for you." And I'm like, I didn't get to see it yet because I had softball, so I got to get a chance to watch that. I rewatched American Gods today, so I didn't.
I feel like I need to get a list from all of my friends every morning of stuff watched and not watched yet.
Yeah, but I gotta check out Candace's episode for Buffy, obviously. So.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw it on Twitter. Raul was like, I guess halfway through, he was like, "How have I not heard about Buffy from Candace? I just don't understand," or something. And he put like a little GIF up that said like, "What a twist!" And I was like, "I made you wait for it, buddy. I came through for you." At the very end, I didn't get too crazy with it, you know.
So before you get into your take of the episode, did I leave anything out? Because I know like I haven't read the books or anything, but did I leave anything out from the actual TV episode that you have any notes to make for that?
I don't think so. I think you're good. I think you covered all the bases. I will say that like there's a lot that goes on in this episode that is very distracting. For me, as a reader of the book, as well as for me knowing what I know about like history. So it was a little distracting. I wrote a lot of notes. So I'll probably go back and watch it again later this week, just so I'm completely clear. But I think you got everything. Yes. So let me start by saying I got to a place this week, I was very proud of myself, where I let go of the book.
Nice.
So many things happened in a row that were just absolutely wrong. Just so wrong that I don't even know how they got there. Like, I don't know why we're doing it. It doesn't make any sense to me as to why they made some of these choices this week. So all of those things in a row, like I would say like the first 25 minutes of the show, I was like, all right, you know what? This is obviously not really going to be about the book, and I need to just let it go. And as soon as I did that, Media came up, and she was radiant and beautiful and hypnotic and like sexy and like commanding, and she like totally took over the episode, and it was epic. Like it was wonderful watching her. Like she's like very much an electric performance. So like that made my transition, I think, a little bit easier than it would have been otherwise. Like if they hadn't had that scene there, I don't know if I would have been able to stick with it. I might have gotten like really upset. Like that in the Bilquis episode really like helped transition me into being okay with it, not being like right on to the book. Tom has frozen. Is he frozen for anyone else?
No, I think he's just.
I can hear you.
Oh, you're back.
All of my YouTube like pages just went black, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Should I just start from the beginning? How I feel?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, just
Okay.
Just
I'm gonna be quick because I know other people have to get in. I completely disagree with the costuming for Mr. Nancy. I felt like that was a very much missed opportunity to show this god the way that his people originally saw him. I think that all of the gods in this that are these old gods, like they deserve a chance of being seen the way that they were seen years ago. And like I know for a fact that there's going to be at least one character that does get that redemption in the show because they've set it up for that. But I think that that was something that was absolutely a missed opportunity. It would have been wonderful to see him in his regalia. And I also think, and this is a hard thing to say, but there was a serious over-romanticization, which, like, again, romanticization of something, like, it's already bad enough saying that something has been romanticized that is a historical atrocity. Like, romanticizing that in general is bad, but over-romanticization of it, like, that to me is like inexcusable a little bit, and I felt like it was tone deaf, especially considering like what's going on in our world right now. There's like 30 men on a ship, and that's like slavery. That's their representation of slavery in this episode. 30 dudes like chilling on benches, mind you, plenty of room to like have their hands on their elbows. Nobody's crowded together. Nobody's laying down like chattel. No one is treated like they're less than human. No one is, being whipped daily. No one has bruises or scars on them. The dead aren't among them. There aren't any women or children, all of which are wrong, completely wrong, like so off base that it's out of control. And I think that it was sanitized, and I don't think this is the time. Like, if you're going to push all of these envelopes with this show, and you're going to get real, and you're going to have so much to say about, like, what's going on in the world around us, and, like, be real. Be honest. I mean, what would it have cost you? A couple more extras? Like, be real. Show me what these people were feeling. Like, you see this scene and it doesn't seem bad enough for them to go upstairs and murder their masters. It seems like they're just on a ship to this land that, well, Lil Wayne is rich. So if I'm, some person in the South that like doesn't believe that racism is a problem, I'm going to excuse that. I'm not going to see that as a wake-up call. I'm not going to see that as desperation. And in the book, they do, like, Neil Gaiman does such a beautiful job of illustrating that these people were crying out to him, and that's why he appeared, because they were calling to him. They were like, please, we're at the end of our ropes. Like, this is it. This is horrible, and we need some kind of reprieve. Like, that guy, I mean, in the show, he speaks up, one of the guys, and he's like, listen, like, I'll do anything for you. I'll sacrifice myself to you. Like, I don't care what it takes, but like, please save me and my people. Like, he lays himself down on the line, and that's powerful. Like, that's powerful. And it was met with this like really jive talking, like loud suit wearing, like hair relaxed and pressed like they had in Harlem in like the 20s during the Renaissance, like very anachronistic portrayal of this extremely powerful and brilliant character. So for me, that was a rough start.
I would almost have been better off if they just left him as a talking spider.
That would have been fine with me. Yes.
Because you know what else are usually at the end of their ropes?
Spiders!
So I completely agree with you, but I'm just going to play like devil's advocate real quick. Do you think it would have been too much if they ended episode 1 the way they ended it, like with the lynch scene pretty much, and then brought it straight to like overpopulated slavery ships Like, do you think that would have gotten a backlash, or do you think it would have served the story better?
I think honestly, I think if you're going to go there, if you're going to open that door, if you are going to nail down the fact that Shadow is black, because he's not black in the book, like he's black, but they say he's like a mutt. They don't get specific.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the fact that they chose to make him black, like I feel like you want to open up a dialogue. The fact that Bilquis is black, like you want to talk. And if you want to talk, let's talk. Like, yes, please. I absolutely adore talking and speaking to people and their sensibilities through media because it's such a less invasive and confrontational way to understand things.
Oh no, you're making her stronger.
I just think overall, like, it was just a missed opportunity all around. I'm excited to see what he does with the rest of his character. Hopefully they'll age him up a little bit. I think I've seen him a little older. Hopefully he'll make a little more sense next time. But, you know, so far it's borderline offensive, if I'm going to be serious about it. But at the same time, like, I get it. It's stylized. You want to make money. It needs to be flashy. It just disappoints me because that's so not the tone and the message in the book. You know,
I do agree.
it's sincere.
I do agree with Candace and what she's saying. Like, I didn't see the feeling of despair in I saw that he was saying like he needed help, but like she was saying there's like plenty of space on the ship. You know, they look very comfortable. It was like they're just going on to a new place. They didn't know where they're going. They were taking a new place. They didn't know that there had hard work set up for them. It was just a travel for them. That's what it seemed like. Besides the fact they were in chains, it just seemed like it was just like a trip for them. And I agree with that point. It wasn't like that, like the dreary, like what you'd see, like the underbelly of a ship, people herded like animals and no bruises, like, you know, with bruises all over them and all that. Like, so I do agree with that. And yeah, like I said, he was a pimp. This guy was like a pimp the way he came out.
If you've when you're reading the book, like the way I pictured, because they do have this conversation later on in the book where Nancy is like, "This is how I showed up here," but oh no, where was I going with that? Oh no, I blanked out for a second. Oh, I always compared it to, in my mind, I don't know if you've read Night, which is like a book about the Holocaust,
Yes.
but they go super into the cattle cars.
Elie Wiesel, that one.
Yes, and they talk about like what it's like to be so like up against each other, and that's exactly how like I pictured it when reading a Gaiman talk about it.
Yes.
So that I think that would have serviced the story a lot too. I was just playing devil's advocate before. I
think Cloris Leachman is great. Cloris Leachman is Zoraya, Chernabog's. So they don't portray them as brother and sister. Mm-hmm. They portray the sisters as sisters, and Chernabog is whatever he is, I guess. But he talks about them like their sisters rather than them all being a family, which I don't like a lot. But Cloris Leachman is like a gem. Like, she's wonderful in that role. It's entertaining. It's funny. She's cute. She's snappy, like she usually is. Like, it's funny because it's almost like watching her do like an aged up version of Frau Bruche from Young Frankenstein. Like, it's pretty entertaining stuff. Like, I'm happy that they got her. I love Peter Stormare. He's like the best version of Satan I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
Like, he's a standout actor. And his presence on the show is good. But I'm going to need to see a little more, I think, because like some of it was a little stilted. And even Shadow, like in the book, he kind of approaches it. This is what I'm saying about Shadow as a character. And I don't know if it's just the actor or if it's the way they're directing him. In the book, he seems more like his interest is piqued by the chess match. You know, he's like, oh, well, you know what? Like, I know my employer really wants you to come along on this journey with us. So how about I lay this down? What do you want from me if you come on this trip? And he like makes the deal, and it's like the deal is supposed to be slick, and it's supposed to be greasy, and it's supposed to be like a little suspicious, and he's supposed to feel confident, and Mr. Wednesday is looking on like, oh honey, you know. But like in the show, it's more like, you know, he's a little nervous, and he's like, well, what do you want from me? Like, really suspicious. Like, he's got zero chill, that guy, sometimes. And I wish he had more chill. Like, I feel like he doesn't have enough chill to be a guy named Shadow.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to be named Shadow, you should probably be like super chill.
Which is weird, because when I always associated to him, because again, like when I read the books, I didn't picture him as black per se. He was always like that tall, dark, like handsome, like like vibe. And especially because of his name, I felt like he was more on like a Native American stance. Like, like the only Moon who I know who isn't a Native American is like Sherry Zombie, right? Isn't that? So I didn't really know where to go with that. But when I thought Shadow, what I was thinking was, again, tall, but also malleable. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It can bend around a corner. You know what I mean? So,
like he knows what he's doing.
yeah, it's just interesting how like a name will say different things to other people. Candace, was there anything else you wanted to hammer out before we get somebody else in here?
I think I'm good. I think that they're getting a little dangerous with race a little bit on that show in many ways, but I also admire the fact that they're like trying to do something interesting. So I feel like I'm gonna reserve my judgment and probably have more to say next time.
Yeah, and you mentioned, since I hadn't seen the episode and you want to know my interpretation, I'll try to watch it later, and I'll do a little reaction video for you guys, just so I have an informed opinion.
Perfection.
Also, the actress Moon Bloodgood is another Moon that's not Native American, and apparently Corey says Moon Zappa as well. So we should start our own show with moons.
Well, I don't know too many moons.
Called The Dark Side of the Moon.
I will. I'll let you guys get to the next
Candace,
person.
Bye, Candace. Well, congratulations then, since now I know.
Well, I'm sorry, Hal. I can't. That's what
I'm
saying.
playing.
Like,
you want to call Corey and Mac now? They want to get in together.
yeah, I'm gonna get them.
And then Bear, you're on deck after that. So make sure you guys send your info to Tom, and he'll get you on.
I should be able. I know Max said
Game of Moons. Also, Daenerys being Moon of My Life is also not a Native American.
I'm gonna see if I can get the. I think he DM'd me. I'm just waiting for. Man, my computer is just doing some kind of special today. I don't know what. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us. I'm hoping everyone's enjoying the show, and I know Joe's like working out and listening to the book, and that's always an option. You don't have to read if you don't want to read. You can always listen to the book adaptation. I think Neil Gaiman even might read one of his. Am I frozen?
Yeah, no, you're good. Eric is still here. I guess he did his treadmill run too.
Yes, he's exercising his body and mind.
Yes. Did you guys get the invite? So the invite should be in your Google Hangout invite section.
Corey definitely got an invite. Right now I'm looking for Mac's email address, but my browser is just being super slow. Matt's glad we suggested it. Oh, cool. He threw it up in here. Oh, he's a Buccaneers fan. I'm not gonna.
Or it could be a Pirates fan. Might not be Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll see.
I really don't care about sports at all. I'll just be some shit.
Hey, Corey. Protein shake is next. What's going on, Corey?
How's it going?
Oh, you're not seeing me right now, so
No,
I'm not seeing you right now.
there we go.
Eric,
Hello.
Corey.
I still don't see you, but if Cal sees you, then we're all good.
I see you.
Okay, good.
And I see Mac now too. Hey, Mac.
Hey, Mac.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I
we
can
can hear
hear
you.
you.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can-
cool. Okay, good. Okay. Happy to be on here. People happy to be on here.
Well, welcome on, Mac. So I know Mac said he had some questions. Did you want to get those out of the way before we discuss this episode?
And if you need me to turn away and cover my ears, let me know.
Well, I just got a particular set of questions because I watched the show with Corey, and I got to talk about the beginning with the African talking. I have distinctive things about it because I looked at him and I was like I told Corey's like, dude, you're gonna love the show. You're gonna love the show, dude. And I was like, I don't know. I got a busy work. So I started watching it and I was like, okay, I'm digging it, Corey. All right. And then I watched the second episode and I see this black man on the ship. And I'm watching them and I was like, and I was listening to Candace. I like her what she said, but I'm willing to think that this is more so this is an African sort of guide or something because he turned into a spider, and I know certain African cultures to have spiders as a certain god, and it just reminded me that. So I mean, does that make sense? Or
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're asking. I think it would have made more sense if he wasn't dressed in modern clothing, like Candace was saying, and maybe like reflected them, or like I said, stayed as a spider. Anansi is a spider god in some mythologies in Africa, and he like as most totem animals are guides, like spiritual guides. He does have that role, but
yeah.
it's more explored in the second book called the Nasi Boys, which goes
I
around
there was
his
a second
family
book.
more.
I
So
did not know there was a second book to American Gods.
there is. It's called the Nasty Boys. It's not a direct sequel, but it's a sequel for Nancy, if anything. Like it takes place after these events, but in like a completely different story. It's more of a personal story than like a road trip story like this one is.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to check
And
that out.
Sorry?
what was that, Corey?
No, I just have to check that out. Go on, Nick.
That's good.
Also, another question is, okay, Corey know what I'm about to say, so he's about to laugh when I say this. The woman,
Bilquis?
yes, I have been, I was in high school. I actually got attracted. Like I said, when I watch something, I may not be the quickest. I may not get it at first, but I'm quick to pick up. So, because like I said, with Game of Thrones, I only watched like a few episodes and I picked it up quick. But this, I picked up a little fast, and I was wondering what is hers, because it's she's sort of like a sex goddess, or I don't know what's going on with that.
This is weird because she's actually out of Judeo-Christian mythology. She is Solomon's wife, the Queen of Sheba.
Oh, Bathsheba. It's
No,
Bathsheba.
not Bathsheba.
Not Bathsheba.
Is his mother. Solomon's mother is
Oh.
Bathsheba. The Queen of Sheba, which is weird, they have very similar names, is his wife. And at a certain point, like all she's after is wisdom and like fortune. But
Okay.
she is kind of associated to like more cardinal desires. Like at a certain point, Solomon sees her with like the bottom legs of a goat. Like, so there is like a weird like kind of demonology thing around there, but they don't
Mhm.
they never explore like the vagina dimension like in
Yeah.
mythology, you know what I mean?
That kind of weirded me out, because I was like, okay.
But I mean, what Gaiman is really good at is just taking one idea and going in like a complete weird way with it. Like if you read Dark Dawn,
I was so scared when I saw that, because I was like, that freaked me out, because I'm like, okay, he's having so much fun. Okay, she's growing bigger. Okay, she's getting a little bigger there. Okay, he sucked
I think it
up.
was done really well.
Yeah.
I thought it was done really well, but
Too well.
it was too well. Yeah. She sounds like, that's a little too good, buddy. All right. Well,
I thought of it as as like a less gory version of Teeth.
yeah. It's like she swallowed them, so it went right through there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The main thing I like about Bilquis is she just kind of speaks to like the desperation of the old gods and them just trying to keep the faith. You know what I mean? She's at the point where she has to
Exactly.
get worship her one at a time, which is
I like that she was just Tinder to get. That's awesome.
yeah. Well, in the book she was a prostitute, and I think this gives her a little bit more. But not that I'm hating on prostitutes, because obviously you're doing what you got to do. But you know what I mean? It kind of gives her more of like an empathetic story, I feel.
I'm gonna try something a little different, because I have actually a theory of what's gonna happen in the next episode. But if y'all willing to hear me out here,
We can do so. I'm not going to confirm anything if it's too
Spoilery.
yeah.
I think Shadow Moon is not gonna. I just already have to confirm that he's not gonna die. I think he's not gonna die. I just feel it in my bones, like he's not gonna die. They're not gonna kill him off. I really think what's gonna happen is the same thing that happened with media. is going to happen to that guy. I really have this feeling that the same thing, like something's going to happen, because I think Shadow Moon is something bigger than what he is, or else Wednesday wouldn't even want him. There's some reason Wednesday wants this guy. I just, it's scratching at me. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like Shadow's not going to die. Plus the fact that her palm reader said he didn't tell us how he's going to die, but he said you're not going to die of cancer. But I have a feeling that he's not going to die right now.
Yeah, and Kimber made a good point too. If he is the god of cancer, then does that mean that nothing's going to happen? I'm going to say that you should trust your suspicions. But I mean, he is the main character, and this is the second time that they've kind of were like, oh, he's going to die now. So it's kind of like starting to hit a trend. But yeah, I would stick with it. And if you're curious about his origins, then hopefully they'll get to it this season. In the book, it kind of it's a slow burn to find out what's really going on with any of the characters. So
yeah,
I really gotta read that book. Also,
it goes down.
Also, I'm sorry, man. I gotta read it. I gotta read that book. Corey, find me the book. Also, I want to know. Also, I was talking to Corey about this when he flipped the coin in the woman's grave. Corey didn't give it out, and he said, I don't know. I have this big feeling that, and I don't know if this is in this story. I think when he flipped the coin in there, that was giving her a coin to the River of Styx. I always think of the River of Styx. I was like, it's sort of gateway back to life.
And when I read it in the book, I felt the same way. It's weird because here's the thing: like all mythologies, like in real world, like in this setting here that we live in, all mythologies have a common thread to how they started. Like the Egyptian god Horus, he died, or he was born December 25th, and he was crucified. Like, and he's older than Christ. So like you could see how like things like mimic origin stories. So how things like with magical coins and like River of Styx and stuff. It's a good way to focus on where that could go, but with these things could be anything, you know what I mean? Because coins show up in mythology pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, and it's also interesting to me because like this was the first book where everything's just weird and there already. Like China Mieville has done a lot with that. Like Kraken. If you've ever read Kraken, it's the same way. Just everything you've ever heard of exists somewhere.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
What I was saying,
I know.
When you were saying about the coin going to the River Styx and giving it to Charon, right? You usually give 2 coins. So that's what I was saying. When he only dropped 1 coin, maybe she'll come back because he's not gonna take her across. So her, you know what I mean? That's what I saw. Like when you said that. Because they always put 2 coins on one on each side as a token to give to Charon to cross the River Styx, and she only got 1.
Yeah, I always thought that. Yeah, I know it was 2 coins. I was like, but the coin look. There was a reason when he said I'm a leprechaun. That was my favorite. I ain't gonna lie, that was my favorite scene because he was just laughing like I'm a leprechaun, and I was like,
and then you're like, he just might be.
Well,
yeah, you might be a leprechaun. So
Matt Sweeney, like I said last episode, there should be more credit to him. He's actually like an ancient, like if the god he's based off of, is like an ancient war king from Ireland. In fact, like he's cursed to wander the world, and the more he fights, the crazier he gets. Is kind of his backstory.
Cool.
So you can kind of see that with Matt Sweeney, how he kind of gets like punch drunk.
Well, at least let's put it like this. At least we're not expecting what we're seeing. It's not Ward Davis and I won't be gold. I won't be gold. Yeah, it's not that type.
Well, the preview for next week does show that. Not Warwick Davis, but the preview for next week does show that. Matt Sweeney goes, "I want my coin back." So.
Yeah. I hope you don't say I want me gold, and then all of a sudden he just rips his body apart and he's like, "Hey, I'm Ward Davis." Just like, oh God, no.
Want me lucky
just
charms?
2 Warwick Davises standing on each other's shoulders.
Yes, yes, that would be awesome. I just will see. The world. I love Ward Davis. God bless his soul.
What is that? What is
But
that show with the three babies in an overcoat?
Isn't it
Bo-
Horseman
BoJack.
or Horse
Yeah,
Bojack?
BoJack Horseman. And it was in
BoJack
Veronica way
Horseman.
back.
I work
Yeah.
at the business store.
Doing the business. Yeah.
In the business,
All right,
yeah.
guys. Well, did you have anything else you want to chat? We would just want to try to make sure we get everybody in before we have to close up
I
shop.
just wanted to say, because my mic was acting funny last week, and I didn't get the chance to say this, but I really did enjoy. I'm really enjoying what they're doing with it. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's probably the best American Gods we're going to get for a long time. So, in that sense, I'm okay with it, even when it makes mistakes. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not, again, like how Candace was saying, like maybe they're kind of doing stuff out of order automatically just to show you that this is not your, like, they're like, okay, we're not going to have her show up in the hotel room. We're going to have her show up at the store. We're going to do these things in a different order. So right away, you know that, boom, like this is not the same.
Yeah,
Plus, when you have somebody as visually like interested as the guy who did Hannibal, I forget his name, but the guy who did Hannibal, you're gonna get some weird tweaks just so it looks more visually interesting. And we've done hotel rooms to death. We've done everything you could possibly do in a motel room.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've done everything, 1408, stuff like that.
Things are not always going to be 100% accurate to the book as well. Like you've seen in all types of movies, shows, they always take a little away from how it's gone in the book or the novel. So, one of the things we said about if you watch Game of Thrones, the Battle of Blackwater, it was a lot different in the book than it was in the show. But I thought the show was more visually appealing, like you just said. So a lot of things are done, with the one shot arrow that goes and lights the ship. Like that was a lot more visual appealing than throwing catapults of wildfire. So the books are not always going to be
that moment in Game of Thrones brought 2 seasons together just by one visual, and that's that ship blowing the hell up.
Yeah. So things will change from the book just to make it more visually appealing, or make the story flow better in other ways, or maybe condense things. So
we also have to keep in mind, too, that,
the greatest film, one of the greatest films made, which is which I mean personally, Shawshank Redemption. That was just a mini novel, and they took that mini novel and made it into a big book. So it's amazing what they can do with books these days. They can take a book, whether big or small, and then turn it into something small or turn it into something big. And it's amazing what you see, what they do and put into film, whether it's right or wrong. Sometimes they get it really wrong, and sometimes they just nail it. But I'm amazed that they just take a leap and finally do something. I like that. So.
Yeah, and I also think it's important to keep in mind that like a lot of a book is descriptive text, and when you're watching something on TV, they don't have to pump out that descriptive text because your eye already know. Like we don't have to read about what color the drapes are and what material. We could look and be like, boom, we know. So I think that right away takes away like half of the content of the book, and it leaves you with, okay, what do we do with these characters and stuff with just visuals?
That's like the book Jaws, because I remember I read that and I was like, God, I just want everybody on this blame book to die because everybody's such a douchebag in this show. That's the way in the movie they did it a different way. Steven Spielberg took it in a different motion, not showing the shark, not revealing the shark, where the shark wasn't the problem. It was like, oh, we got gangsters here. Those of you who read the book, I'm sorry.
Forgot about the gangsters.
Yes, there's gangsters. I was like, what the crap? I closed the book as soon as I did it. So I did not like that. So,
all right, guys.
The Thornbirds was another good example. But anyway,
we got Bear wanting to call in. I think he's our last person, so he's put his contact inside the chat.
Yep, I got it. Thank you so much for joining us, Nick. Feel free to join.
I apologize for taking too long.
Oh no, you're fine. So make sure if you have more questions, make sure you write them down for next week.
Right.
Gotcha. I'll be on next week.
All right, guys.
See you guys later.
Thank you so
See
much. And unfortunately, I kind of cut them off before they could plug their stuff. Guys, if you want to plug your information into the live chat, I'll read it off this way because I know you guys are working on some stuff over at your podcast and stuff. So sorry about that. I'm going to call Matt right now. and this way we're not running too behind. We're running an extra 10 minutes, and I gotta get ready.
All right. While you're calling him, I do have a big announcement to make.
Oh no, an announcement.
The poll has ended, and with there's a total of staggering 3 votes I had on my poll, 2 of which led to my nickname for the show of American Odds being, so the choices were between the Divine Cal, the one that you came up with, the Devilish Handsome Cal, Cal the Creator, and then another one which I think Randall, it was, suggested Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, which is way too long. So with 2 votes to 1, we have Cal the Creator for this show.
All right, Cal the Creator. I'm glad you're just like collecting nicknames on your.
I know,
your
so
journey.
it's a man of 1,000 nicknames, man. It's gonna be great.
You're like Cal the Kingslayer, the
People's
Creator, the People's Champ. Like you're just trying to get a Daenerys Targaryen title.
I know. At the end, when I go to Starbucks, I just want to have a long ass name.
All right, so Corey, he's
okay.
follow at Tech Podcast 1 on Twitter.
And Max says that he's a Tampa Bay Bucks fan. That's clarified now.
You there, Matt?
He's on mute. I think he muted his mic. Okay, there you go.
All good?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
I can hear you. I just can't see you. Is your camera off? There you
Is
are.
it on now?
Yeah, I see it.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, buddy.
Daewoo says I should have a new nickname every show. All right, what's up, bro?
So, I'm just gonna get a few things together for work. I'm listening.
Yep.
And I'll comment as you guys are talking. I'll be right back. So
overall thoughts on the show at first, and then what do you think about the episode itself?
I haven't read the books yet, so overall thoughts. I mean, like cinematography-wise, everything, it's beautiful. The acting is on point so far. I like how the characters are like acting like real people, as opposed to like they're acting. Other than that, that episode was crazy.
Yeah, so basically you're on the same boat as me. You haven't read the books, and you're appreciating how the story's unfolding for you. You don't know who anyone is yet. You might have theories about who people are, but you're not sure yet. I hope you're not reading spoilers or anything, but it's interesting to see. And yeah, we do appreciate the cinematography as well as the acting. So, on to the episode. What did you think?
Pretty much like with the slave ship, like right off the bat, I have to agree. Those situations were pretty chill, lax, and everything like that. The character Anansi actually brought up like a childhood memory for me because there was a book we read in elementary school called Anansi and the Moss-Covered Rock.
yes.
And it was basically about him, like, tricking all these other animals. So I, thought that was really cool and like instantly right there. I was like, I know who that is.
That folk story is the basis for Anansi Boys. The sequel book.
That's cool.
The spin-off book or the sequel book that he's talking about that he mentioned earlier, that's your story that you're talking about is the basis of that.
That's very cool.
Sorry,
I mean,
so you're talking about how you read that in school and brought up memories?
Right. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, I know who that is. Like,
So how did you feel about his portrayal then?
Like I said, like I mentioned, like I got that real, like he felt like Denzel from Training Day. Really, like who I am.
I don't
really,
think it's as tough though. I mean,
he was kind of tough, like when he was like talking about like you gotta get angry.
Yeah, at the end, more raw at the end. But when he first came in, I mean.
Also, like it's funny. Like I think of it like Billy Crystal's portrayal as like the black jazz singer in Katrina, when he was like, where was Bush when the ladies fell a deeper down, really like that. So really tongue-in-cheek, I guess you can say.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to weigh in when I watch the episode, but we don't meet him till later in the books, so it's a little weird that I already. But I think it's super cool that you like. I think he's one of the most like one of the most vague gods that you hear of in the book, because I mean, yeah, there's Mad Sweeney and stuff like that, but he says like a leprechaun, so you have that like association right off the bat. But with Anansi, it's cool that you knew who he was. I think that's super cool.
Bilquis, like, that's pretty amazing and cool. I think like the whole concept of it. I picture her of like almost like the goddess of lust, and I was talking to my wife about it, telling her about how it's really mythological based, and she was like, I think it's really kind of interesting and cool that they chose like a black woman for that role. I mean, personally, that's how she felt.
Yeah. In the books, she's not black. So it is an interesting thing. But the Queen of Sheba, like mythology, she there are some stories where she is like dark skinned, and there's some stories where she's not. So I agree. I think it is an interesting choice.
Yeah. So like I'm interested to see like where that whole thing goes. What I really wanted to get into was the checkers game that they were playing. Like when they sat down and they finally made the wager for like, if you win, I'll come with you, do whatever you want. If I win, I get to kill you. Whenever Moon would break for dialogue, they'd talk, do a little thing, and Chernabog would instantly say, "It's your move" to him, but you don't see him make a move. So you see Moon make his move. They do more comment talking, and then Chernabog goes, "It's your move," and I'm like, "We didn't see you make a move yet." So that really kind of had me going like, "What's going on here with that?"
You do see him jump a lot. You see him make a lot of jumps.
But I think that was more or less like when they were like actually showing them play the game. But when the whole dialogue part was really going on, you don't see him move. Because when I first noticed it, I was like, did he not move? And then the second time, I was like, he didn't make a move. And he was like, "It's your move." And I was like,
I mean, I think that might speak to the fact that like we keep meeting all these war gods, and I think that kind of speaks to his strategy. So it's a point where he's just like if he did move at all, he already knew his move way ahead of the game. You know what I mean? So I think that's interesting, and and that's cool how like concepts can kind of flow over to things. Like one of my I have this argument with Kimber all the time. I think Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is better than Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and the reason is because they're playing death with board games. And I think that's such a cool thing that like, yes, there's a finality to a board game. Like when your king is taken in chess, there is death there. And for that, like the war concept to come over to like checkers, like, yes, you are clashing. It's not bloodshed, and it's not for like big. Well, it is for big stakes in this particular thing, but the game is usually just like I love that. I love how like little things can all of a sudden become metaphors for like concepts.
Yeah, and I mean, like when I watch like these shows, like I really like look. Like I'm like, what am I watching? I'm looking for clues all the time because you always see something. Like he was saying, like how we don't think he's gonna die and everything like that. I don't think so either. But my guess or whatever is that being that the other sister woke up, the binoculars are there and the door closed when he walked past, like, oh, maybe she's gonna, miraculously save him or something like that. Who knows? I don't.
Yeah, and Cal was sharing his theory on who those sisters are, and I liked his take on it. But I mean, most times when you find sisters in mythology, they usually are, especially a set of three. The fates, as Cal mentioned, could they be the Norns? Like these are like a common element, and the way the Slavic trilogy, and the same thing with Morgan from Celtic, like trilogy goddesses can be the same entity and at the same time 3 separate things. So I think that's what we're kind of getting at, is different aspects of the same person, is the way they're kind of showing it, and that's how I got it from the book. But it's up in the air to how exactly they're going to, because the family is important. So I think it's interesting. I'm excited to watch it. I haven't watched the episode, but like that's one of the scenes I was looking forward to when I knew that the show was being made. Was just meeting this family. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty awesome so far. Like I said, I haven't read it. I'm not sure if it's like going to be, they're going to go the same route that, you know, Game of Thrones went, where, you know, they make their changes, put characters in that, you know, who didn't have big roles, who all of a sudden have huge roles, things like that. I read those books before I watched, so you can see the changes in that. So with this, I'm coming in fresh, but so far I've really enjoyed it so far, and I'm excited to see like what they're gonna present.
If you saw last week's episode, or if you can go catch the replay, we have it up on Tom's YouTube channel, Oddship channel. Candace suggests that you should watch the first season of the show and then probably pick up the book and read it, and then go to the second season of the show when it eventually comes out. That's exactly what I did with Game of Thrones too. I watched like I guess the first like 9 episodes, which is almost the first season, you know, and then I read the book, and then I caught up on all the books before the second season came out. So that's what she suggested for this show. If you want to do that.
Yeah, it makes sense because you know with like the trend, like, you know, everyone's been talking about, like, so I know we were talking about Stephen King last week or the week before, and you know the difference between the book Shining and that, you know, and you know Game of Thrones, there's always going to be some differences. So probably seeing it first and then reading it later is probably going to be like, oh, you know, it fills in gaps, or you know, you see something differently that you didn't see before. I'm trying to think. And you guys were talking about blockbusters yesterday in Jurassic Park. You know, when I was a kid, I read Jurassic Park before I went to go see it. That was the first summer blockbuster I ever saw. So when I see watching the movie, I'm like, this person didn't die. This didn't really happen. So I'm probably gonna have to end up doing that and reading the books after this first season.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much for calling in, Matt. We're gonna have to wrap up, and I think you should definitely come in when we start the Night's Watch, which is Cal's Game of Thrones recap show, when that comes on, because we're all in the same boat there.
I would love to. With that.
So definitely, thanks for calling in, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, later.
Yeah, now I'm reading about the actual. See you later. I'm reading about the 3 sisters now for Slavic mythology, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the cool thing too, is like I mean, there are plot points to where, like, because mythologies recycle. Like if Ragnarok tells us anything, it's that like the world ends and starts, and then it's a cycle. You know what I mean? But if you're interested in the mythology aspects of like what is it outside of the scope of the show, I would just check out the God and see what you can find out about them. But do be wary that like sometimes they like to revisit old themes from like the mythology, so that might show up in the thing. But if you're at a stance of like, I just want to know about this character, I suggest it.
That's why I did it for Anansi. But I forgot who said it earlier. I don't know if it was you or maybe Corey or Mac. I'm not sure. Maybe it could have even been Matt who came at the end. But they said they like how you don't know who they are, but they're portrayed as normal people. So if you kind of like stuff like that and reading books like that, and if you're a fan of the Harry Potter series, check out like Rick Riordan's books about mythology. He has, you know, the Percy Jackson series for Greek mythology, as well as Roman mythology, and then the Cain series for Egyptian mythology, and now he's doing the Magnus Chase series for Norse mythology. And all the gods are portrayed as normal people, and that, you know, they have their identity. It's kind of like American Gods, I guess, in that way. They have their altered identity of their god, but they're seen as normal people in the world. So it's kind of like not children's book, but it's like I'm a Harry Potter reading level. So if you're a fan of Harry Potter and gods and mythology, check out the Rick Riordan's books.
Cool. And I always like to reference Bullfinch's mythology, which is a collection of just pretty much Arthurian tales, classic concept tales. It goes from like Greek mythology to Norse. It's just a great collection if you're into mythology. But we should wrap it up. Cal, where can everybody find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at VirenJadejaVu. Also, I have a YouTube channel, Kingslayer, so if you can like and subscribe to that as well. I do a show called Aftermath with Eric and Delisha about wrestling. So if you're a wrestling fan, check that out. We have 2 episodes posted. The next one will be 2 weeks from yesterday. And then also we'll have the Night's Watch coming out with myself, Kimber, and Tom coming soon in July. Talk about Game of Thrones. And also on the Odd Shape Press, right? WordPress now, yes.
Well, it's the Odd Blog for now.
Yeah, Odd Blog.
Go check out oddshapedchannel.com. That has everything. All of the shows we're involved with, all of the channels we're involved with. Just check that out. We have our articles up there, merch by Janine. So do yourself a favor. See if you're interested in us talking. See what else we got.
Soon to feature all my nicknames.
Yeah, we'll just have a separate page just for that. You can follow me on Twitter at OddShapePanel. And thank you, everyone.
And check out Kimber's Twitter, too. Don't forget, because she posts the polls for the show.
That is true. And that's KimberBatch_OSP. And we'll be, again, if you're ever looking for links to the next live episode, those will be at our website as well. But we'll see you here for American Odds again in 1 week.
Yep.
And in 2 weeks, we'll be starting Twin Peaks, which will be me and Kimber's Twin Peaks recap show. So if you're interested in that, keep a lookout. And in Monday, our next OSP, we will be doing mythology. So mythology and religion in pop culture outside of Christian Judeo, because there's just so much to choose from that. So yeah, let us know.
The same day we'll have Aftermath episode 3, but we'll try to do it earlier. I think we haven't worked on the schedule yet, but we'll try to do it earlier so it ends before Odd Panel starts, or we'll just do it another day. We're not sure yet. I got to talk to Delisha and Eric about that.
Yeah, and if we need to do something on our end to readjust, just let us know, and we'll figure out something that works out for everybody. Because that's 3 of our guests on your show, so we're gonna miss you guys.
Have a good Mother's Day to everybody. So all the mothers out there watching, thank you for being awesome.
And
thank you to all watch today with us, so thank you for joining us. Anything else?
All right. No, I think.
And the Rangers lost, so they're eliminated from the Stanley Cup. Go Devils! I had to put that in there.
God. All right, and then we'll end on that. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
See you guys. Thank you.